With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
We are within 2 weeks of the 2024 NFL Draft, the time of year that the National Football League welcomes in a fresh crop of talent. A new batch from the collegiate ranks make their way as professional football players. New players that will rely very much on the experienced heads of veterans already playing in the league as they look to navigate their way through the early days of their professional footballing careers. To that extent, there are few better people to look up to than this week's guest on the Graves on Gridiron podcast. I'm talking to the New York Jets punter, Thomas Morstead, who spoke to me from his home in New Orleans. Amidst the middle of a tornado warning, we navigated it all. He's experienced it all, and he's one man, perhaps more than most, given his association with New Orleans, that is desperate to get back to the Super Bowl this year. Remember, in his rookie season, he played an integral part in the New Orleans Saints winning what is today their only Vince Lombardi trophy. Well, this coming season, the Super Bowl returns to New Orleans. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with the New York Jets punter, Thomas Morstead.
Graves on Gridiron with Richard Graves.
Thomas, thanks for joining us on the show. Great to see you again in what is looking like a busy off-season, if what I see on social media is true. Your lovely wife, Lauren, is expecting another child. Your eldest, Maxwell, by all accounts, is convincing Dad to get him into golf. There's a lot going on.
There is definitely a lot going on. We're super excited. Going back to ground zero, diapers and wipes and the whole lot. But everybody's excited about it, and it's just the next stage for each kid. They're all growing faster than we'd like.
Well, and it's all part of the family life, isn't it? I know in the past you've talked about where your mother came from, being North Lincolnshire over here in the UK, and you visited there on many occasions. You've got your own family now that seems to be doing it extraordinarily well as well, and clearly, by your reaction, it's something that you absolutely adore.
Yeah, it is. It's funny you have that many kids, and when you have your first kid, it's like congratulations, and by the time you get to the fifth, it's like congrats, right? Like you guys are excited about it. It's a lot, but we couldn't be more thrilled, and it's going to be an exciting deal for the kids to have a baby around, and it's just the next stage of life, and to get to go back and start over again with a new one is really exciting.
Well, I couldn't be happier for you guys, and obviously wish you all the best in the coming months as well. I guess it all means that you'll have barely had time, will you, to pay attention to really what's been going on in the off-season, obviously the change in kickoff rules with the NFL. On a personal front, you've signed a new deal to be with the New York Jets as well. What's your assessment of everything that's happened so far?
Well, I'm excited to be back with the Jets to start. I'm really hoping we get another game over in the UK. So I'm keeping my eyes on that. But yeah, I'm excited. I think we have a chance to win. And the Super Bowl is in New Orleans, which is where we live, so I've got that eyed as well, which would be pretty cool. As far as the kickoff rule, time will tell. I do think there's some positives about it. I think there's going to be more exciting. It's going to be more of an exciting play. I think the touchback percentage was in the 70s last year, so more often than not, nothing happened. It's just kind of taking up time and space on the TV where nothing's actually happening. So I'm excited about that. I do think it's a bummer that there's no opportunity to surprise a team if you wanted to try to steal a possession. Kind of disappointing to me that you don't have the opportunity to do that in the first 3 quarters of the game. And then, other than that, I think, time will tell if it's a good rule change. So we'll see.
Well, I was going to say on the onside kick opportunity, looking back, I can only find 2 successful onside kicks that have been executed in Super Bowl history. One was in Super Bowl 30 with Bill Cowher and the Steelers. And of course, from your perspective, a rookie kicker in Thomas Morstead, first season, goes to the Super Bowl, and Coach Sean Payton comes up to you at the halftime interval and says, ambush. We're going to kick the ball onside and try and surprise the Colts at the start of the third quarter. And the rest is history, I guess, with Chris Rice recovering that. It must be tinged with disappointment, as you say, that's gone. But when you look back as well, much fondness that you've done something that not many people have done before.
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, I think that the fact that it'd be like telling a team they're not allowed to do a Hail Mary, or not allowed a team that they're only allowed to run the ball on second down. I think it's kind of silly that a team can't take a chance to do something risky if they so choose to try to get to try to get a possession back. I don't think that's good for the game. But I do think making incentivizing the return play to happen makes the game more exciting. And so, yeah, I mean, look, it's no matter what happens in the future of the game, that play is special just because it was special, right, to be a part of it. So doesn't make it more special or less special because of rule changes. It's to be a part of that was a really amazing thing for me personally and for our team, and to be a part of the city's of New Orleans history, all those things. I mean, it's just been a blessing all the way around.
Take us back to Super Bowl 44, because, as I say, you were rookie at the time. Were there nerves when you knew you were going to kick off the third quarter with that play, or was it all so new and everything around you, first experience, you just went out there and executed it and didn't really think about it much till after? How do you recall that now?
Yeah, it was nerves is an understatement. I don't even know how I would describe it really. I mean, I was not. It was a frantic halftime, just thinking about it and having to be alone with my own thoughts the whole halftime. It was just very stressful. But by the time I went out there to do it, I was excited about it. I was still incredibly anxious, but just excited about it. I had done it well in practice, and I reminded myself of that multiple times, and I was in a good mind space. I had a good positive outlook on doing it, and it worked out. And with the way the rules were at the time, the risk of that was different than it's been in recent years. At the time, we could have these guys running full speed through the line, and so it was just a totally different play at the time. And back then, I want to say it was almost a 2/3 chance you would recover it on a surprise situation. So it wasn't as if you could go to the casino and get a 2 out of 3 winner chance, you'd play that game every time, right? So it wasn't as ridiculous of a bet as people made it out to be, but it still took some courage to do it for sure.
I think that's the polite way of putting it. I watched it back, and the thing that struck me was that obviously the ball goes the full 10 yards, but you hit it in such fashion that it actually curved back towards your guys trying to recover the ball.
Yep.
There was no shortage of skill in executing that.
Yeah, that was the plan, was to have it hit and kind of spiral, and when it hits the ground, keep curling back towards your guys. And the only thing I could have done better was not hit it quite as deep. But I remember the last thing I thought before I went out there was that I'm not missing this short. It's not going to go 9.5 yards, and that's not going to be the way this goes. So I definitely made sure to, get it past the 10 to make sure that we at least had a chance on the ball. And fortunately, Chris Rees and Jonathan Casillas and a bunch of other guys on the kickoff team were there to, do whatever they had to do to get that ball out from under the pile.
Yeah, well, without a doubt, it's a moment that goes down in Super Bowl history, and the rest was history as you guys went on to beat the Colts in Super Bowl 44. Another thing that we're unlikely to see much more of, or maybe a record that won't be broken, I was reading, and depending on whether you believe Wikipedia or not, you hold the record for the most number of touchbacks in a single game. 9, I think it was, 2011, again against the Indianapolis Colts. Well, the new kickoff rules are obviously designed to encourage kick returns, and teams are penalised now in terms of the starting position for the opposition should the ball go dead and it is a touchback. So you have already written yourselves into the annals of NFL history, it would appear.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's just a record that's more based on scoring 60-something points than it is how good of a kicker I was. We had a lot of kickoffs in that game, and I remember being exhausted after that game because of that. So, yeah, it was definitely a cool thing to do. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was back in 2011 in the Dome against the Colts, and I think that was the year that Peyton was hurt, and we absolutely smashed them that night and had a lot of touchbacks. So,
well, obviously you're back with the New York Jets this coming season. We've already mentioned you've signed a new deal. Last year, obviously, Thomas, was hugely disappointing for everybody, especially given the hype that went around all the build-up. We saw you guys feature on Hard Knocks, and then several plays into the game, Aaron Rodgers goes down with a season-ending injury. I've already seen Robert Saleh say this off-season he's pleased that there won't be so much noise around the Jets. You're an experienced head, you're a veteran, a leader of this team. Presumably that's something that you agree with, and will it benefit this team?
Yeah, I mean, look, will it benefit? I don't know. We'll see. You never know how things go. It's last year we had to embrace Hard Knocks because it was forced on us, and so we did, and I think we're embracing the fact that we're not on Hard Knocks this year. So, look, I think, we live in a day and age where it's look at me, let me promote myself, let's promote everything we do, and which is funny because, generally speaking, teams that are about business and about football and that aren't promoting all the stuff that they're doing are generally teams that do well. So those don't always run with the same priorities in line. And so I think, there's definitely something to being quiet under the radar and just, working quietly. It's like when you see somebody win a championship or do something special, you don't see the 99% of the time that they've grinded and worked to put themselves in a position to do that. And so that's just kind of the nature. That's kind of the nature of the world we live in right now. So, I think it'll be nice to be quiet and, under the radar if possible.
How great is the incentive for this team to try and get to the Super Bowl this year? Obviously, it's an ambition that was a stated aim last season. You've already mentioned it personally, with it being in New Orleans. That holds a special place for you as well. So, how great is that incentive?
It's a greater incentive than I can communicate because I've done it and I know what it's done for my life. The best way I say is you want, if you care about people and you've done a cool experience and you want to show them that experience, you want to experience that with them. And, to, have the chance to do that is, it's one of the things that's got you still playing, got me still playing is to go experience that again, to bring my kids along for the journey on the Saturday ride before the game. And you want everybody to be a part of it, to be all the people that have invested in you to be a part of it. And, I think I don't know anybody that's like, man, I wish I'd have worked a little less hard. Like it wasn't worth going for it. Like it's better than sure. I can communicate. I can't verbalize how awesome it is. And so, I just really wish that for all my teammates. I wish they get to experience it, and it's something that creates a bond that is kind of carries with you for your life. And so, like I said, it's just when you know something's so good, you just want it so badly for the people you care about. So I really hope we get to experience that at some point.
Yeah, and the lure isn't just for the guys on your team. Quite clearly, you mentioned you'd like to play in the UK again, if possible, sometime soon. Well, there's a high-profile athlete from the UK that's just made the transition over to the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs, Welsh Rugby Union star Louis Rees-Zammit. I know in the past you've said that your journey to becoming an NFL kicker started with just kicking a rugby ball when you were on visits to family over here in the UK. So how difficult is that transition, do you feel? And we've already spoken about the change in kickoff rules. Is that something that you feel could benefit a player like Louis Rees-Zammit with the talent and attributes he's got?
Well, honestly, I don't know what talent and attributes he has. I don't know much about him. But, I think making a transition from one sport to another sport is going to be hard for anybody. There's just common knowledge, having played the game, of understanding the game at an unconscious level. That's just different. So it'd be no different than finding an NFL running back and trying to teach them how to play rugby. They may have some great skills and abilities, but if they don't have they haven't been doing it their whole life, there's going to be some some challenges and learning curve that's going to happen. And hopefully if it's, to me, it's not so much about how talented he is. It's about the mindset that a player like that will have, and embracing learning a totally new game and learning all the rules and trying to figure out where his talents fit into a team. So, I'm sure there'll be lots of learning curve for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And just finally, before you go, I'd love to get your thoughts on the upcoming NFL draft, because along with Louis Rees-Zammit coming into the NFL, we're going to get a new crop of collegiate players coming in around about a fortnight's time. I recall back in 2009, you were taken in the 5th round by the Saints on the 3rd day. What's that experience like, and what would your advice be to those guys that find themselves waiting for the phone call?
Just enjoy the experience. Whether you get drafted where you want or not is irrelevant. You have zero control over it. Enjoy the experience for what it is. And if the worst thing that happens to you is you have a chip on your shoulder because it didn't go how you expected, that may be the best thing that ever happens to you in your career. I know a lot of great players that have felt the major disappointment of not meeting the expectation they had, and it's carried them a long way, and it's left an imprint on their brain and how they operate, and they've gone on to become these unbelievable players. And I don't know that they would have done that had that negative experience not occurred. So, enjoy the experience and take it for what it is. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's what you do when you get there that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you able to enjoy the experience, or were you one of those guys that was anxiously waiting, speaking to your agent, hoping that it might happen?
No, I didn't talk to my agent at all on the day. I just had family and a few close friends that no matter how the day went, I knew would be with me and support me. And if I didn't get drafted, then I would I'd be okay with those people there. So I tried not to, I was certainly anxious, but I enjoyed it as well. And when I got the call, and, we're from Houston originally, and so it was like a 5-hour drive down I-10, the interstate. You couldn't get much closer to home than that. So we were all thrilled, and, but I would have been thrilled wherever I ended up, but it just, it's amazing how things ended up, and I'm very grateful the Saints took a chance on me.
Yeah, certainly, because obviously your first season you win a Super Bowl. Here we are now, sat here talking ahead of your 16th year heading into the league now with the New York Jets. So listen, Thomas, it's great. Love the fact you've had time to join us, especially with the tornado warning going on outside where you are as well. We've managed to survive it.
There we go.
So really appreciate your time, and all the best as well with the new edition in the coming weeks.
Graves on Gridiron.
Exciting times, not just in the football season, but as you heard from Thomas there, in the off-season this time around for both he and the Morstead family as a whole. Of course, for the new batch of talent about to make their way into the National Football League, it's maybe tense, nervous times as well as we get ever closer to the 2024 NFL Draft. We'll be staying across that. My thanks to Thomas for taking the time to join us on this week's edition of Graves on Gridiron. If you want to watch the show, then go to my YouTube channel at Richard Graves TV and you can see the full interview there. Equally, get in touch with us via social media on the Graves on Gridiron Facebook page, on Twitter or X as it now is. Always love to hear your thoughts and reaction there. That's at Richard Graves 1, or on Instagram. You can hit me up on Instagram. That's RDG Media UK. As always, enjoying chatting to the stars of the National Football League and bringing you a sneak behind the curtain as to what makes professional players tick, especially in the off-season. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, so long, everybody.
Subscribe to Graves on Gridiron wherever you listen to podcasts. And keep up to date with the latest on Twitter. Search for Richard Graves 1. That's Richard Graves, the number 1.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Tired of ads interfering with your favorite sports podcasts? Good news. Ad-free listening is available on Amazon Music for all the music plus top podcasts included with your Prime membership. Stay ahead of the game by downloading the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/sports ad free. That's amazon.com/sports ad free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.